Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. My name is Arika Nurul Iftitah. I'm from Palu. This is my final assessment about linguistics. Now I will explain in the first meeting. We are discuss about linguistic, microlinguistic, and macrolinguistic. Linguistics is the scientific study of language, and its focus is the systematic investigation of the properties of particular language as well as the characteristics of language in general. It encompasses not only the study of sound, grammar, and meaning, but also the history of language families, how languages are acquired by children and adults, and how language use is processed in the mind, and how it is connected to race and gender, with close connection to the humanities, social science, and natural science. The subfield of Apply linguistic emphasizes the use of linguistic concepts in the classroom to help students improve their ability to communicate in their native language or a second language. According to the type of its own branches, linguistics is divided into two: macrolinguistic and microlinguistic. Linguistics is simply the study of language. The prefix micro refers to the small, and macro refers to large. Microlinguistics refers to how small changes in language affect the sound and look of language. Macrolinguistics also looks at the way words sound phonetics, the organization of the sounds phonology, and how words are formed morphology, to name a few. Microlinguistics is often not interested in the meaning of words as much as the way the word sounds or is formed, and is often represented at the individual level. The general sense is that macrolinguistics tends to focus on language as broader language concepts and trends, while microlinguistics is concerned with smaller, more specific elements of language. Macrolinguistics is the branch of linguistics that deals with language and related extralingual phenomena as a whole, sometimes specifically the statistical analysis of large-scale linguistic phenomena. Microlinguistics is the branch of linguistics that deals with the analysis of specific linguistic data in contrast with prelinguistic and metalinguistic. The second meeting, the materials about language and phonetics. In the opening, we are discussed about long-term memory and short-term memory. What is long-term memory? Long-term memory refers to the storage of information over an extended period. This type of memory tends to be stable and can last a long time, often for years. If we can remember something that happened more than just a few moments ago, whether it occurred just hours ago or decades earlier, then it is a long-term memory. What is short-term memory? Short-term memory, also known as primary or active memory, is the capacity to store a small amount of information in the mind and keep it readily available for a short period of time. Short-term memory is limited. It is commonly suggested that short-term memory can hold only 7 items at once. Group 1 presentation about language is a system of conventional spoken, manual, signed, or written symbols by means of which human beings, as members of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. The function of language includes communication, the expression of identity, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. Furthermore, language is assigned a system of humankind in order to communicate one's thoughts, feelings, and opinion to someone else but linguistics is a scientific study of language. In fact, the goal of linguistics is to describe language and to explain the unaware knowledge all speakers have about their language. Human language must be innovative and creative in order to respond to new ideas, experience, and situations. Future generations will continue to evolve language to technology as our society becomes more heavily dependent on it. Language competence refers to the ability that people do not have conscious access to the principles and rules that govern the combination of sounds, words, and sentences. The language is the collection of symbols and rules for combining the symbols, which can express an infinite variety of messages. In the definition, language separates to three criteria. First is language is symbolic, which known as the use of symbols such in spoken or written words to express ideas to the world. The second is language is generative, which defined as the capability to produce many different messages by combining symbols in different ways. The third, language as structured, which means following grammatical rules and produce grammatical sentences. Besides the criteria, language has three aspects such as grammar, meaning, and sounds. Verbal communication is about language, both written and spoken. In general, verbal communication refers to our use of words, while nonverbal communication refers to communication that occurs through means other than words, such as body language, gesture, and silence, or the use of language to transfer information through written text, speaking, or sign language through the use of body language, including eye contact, facial expression, gesture, and more. For example, smiling when you meet someone conveys friendliness, expecting, and openness. Everyone uses nonverbal communication all the time, whether they know it or not. English verbal use verb, but in Indonesia is not. The example in English, Arika is clever. In Indonesia, Arika pintar. There is not verb in that. And group 2 presentation about phonetics. Phonetics, the study of the sound of human language, is called phonetics. Phonetics is a branch of linguistics that study how humans produce and preface sounds, or in the case of sign language, the equivalent express of signs. The third meeting we are discuss about phonology and morphology. Now I will explain what is phonology. Phonology is the branch of linguistics concerned with the study of speech sound system with reference to their distribution and patterning. Phonology is the study of the way sounds function in language, including phone, phonemes, allophone, syllable, stress, accent, intonation, and which sound are distinctive units within a language, and the way sounds function within a given language. Syllable. A syllable is a word part with a vowel in it. Usually a word has as many syllables as it has vowels. A syllable is a single unbroken sound of a spoken or written word. Words can be cut up into units called syllables. For example, vowel sounds. Book has 1 syllable. Reading has 2 syllables. Makanan, makanan, 3 syllables. There are 6 types of syllables. 1. A closed syllable ends in a consonant. Example include hat, basket. The second, an open syllable ends in a vowel. Example include me, program, music. The third, a vowel consonant, a syllable is typically found at the end of a word. The fourth, a vowel theme syllable has 2 vowels next to each other that together say a new sound, as in the word south. The fifth, a consonant syllable is found in words like handle, puzzle, and middle. 6. An uncounted syllable contains a vowel followed by the letter R. The R controls the vowel and changes the way it is pronounced, as in the word car. Suprasegmental phonology refers to intonation features, stress placement, and rhythm in spoken language, also called prosody. Suprasegmental, also called prosodic feature. In phonetics, a speech feature such as stress, tone, or word juncture that accompanies or is added over consonant and a vowel. These features are not limited to single sounds, but often extend over syllables, words, or phrases. Kinds of suprasegmental: stress, pitch, tone, and intonation, pause, and juncture. The first is stress. Stress is a suprasegmental element of sound related to loudness and softness of sound. In English, the character called distinctive. The meaning is differentiative meaning. The example is blackboard. Is the stress before black, the meaning is blackboard. Papan tulis. If the stress between black and board, the meaning is papan hitam. The second is pitch. Pitch is related to the high and low voice spoken in speech. If a sound is spoken with a high vibration frequency, it produces a high pitch. If it's low, it will produce a low pitch sound. Tone does not change meaning, nor the same as the stress. The third is tone and intonation. Tone, pitch, variation, intonation, pitch over phrase, clause, or sentence. Tone refers to the emotion and attitude one puts behind their words. In contrast, intonation refers to the fluctuation of one's voice as they speak. Tone deals with how someone communicates their words. If we speak with someone, we identify their tone as happy or upset. Our tone conveys our mood, so we can say that it is more pragmatic part of communication because our emotion significantly affect our tone. Pause. It is length of silence between part of an utterance. Example: my brother has a new car. 6. Juncture. It is space in speech between sound or word. Juncture in linguistics is the manner of moving transition between two successive syllables in speech. An important type of juncture is the suprasegmental phonemic, by means of which a listener can distinguish between two otherwise identical sequences of sound that have different meaning. Now I will explain morphology. Morphology is the branch of linguistics studying how words are structured and how they are put together from smaller parts. And the last meeting, the material about syntax. What is syntax? Syntax is the study of how words and morphemes combine to form letter units such as phrases and sentences. Central concepts of syntax include word order, grammatical relation, hierarchical sentence structure, agreement, the nature of cross-linguistic variation, and the relationship between form and meaning. Categories and structure. A fundamental fact about words in all human language is that they can be grouped together into a relatively small number of classes called syntactic categories. This classification reflects a variety of factors, including the type of meaning that words express, the type of affixes that they take, and the type of structure in which they can occur. Word-level categories. Lexical categories are noun, verbs, adjective, preposition, adverb. Non-lexical categories determine qualifier, auxiliary, conjunction. Inflection or inflections is a process of word formation in which a word is modified to express different grammatical categories such as tense, case, voice, express, person, number, gender, mood, intimacy, and definite tenses. Pre-structured sentences have a hierarchical design in which words are grouped together into successfully legal structured units. This section will focus on the nature of the synthetic units built around noun, verb, adjective, and preposition. Such units are called phrases. Complement is the term used for a word or words that are needed to complete the meaning of an expression. Additional explanation. From Sir Dr. Marwadin M. Hum, what is syntax? Syntax is analyze a sentence structure or a scientific structure, bentuk, from. There must be a formula in it. Required to look for details, and then in the analyze must be profession part of speech. The key to mastering the syntax is record to know the parts of speech, such as noun, preposition, determine, and so on. The obsolete thing in English is verbs. Verb is in English can be divided into transitive verbs called infinitive, verb, and etc. In transitive verbs, swims, sit, sleep, and etc. 2. Regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs study, cook, invite, and etc. B. Irregular verbs speak, write, bring, and etc. If we want to master English, we must master the characteristic of sentence: interrogative sentence, transformative sentence, positive sentence, negative sentence, emphatic sentence. The example is I do love you, I did invite you. Active sentence, declarative sentence, exam sentence. Verbal sentence is only to express linguistic. Verbal sentence, the example is I'm a teacher. Non-verbal sentence is saya guru. The example also body language. In English sentence, there must be a verb in it, minimally helping verb. Example, I am teacher, she is my daughter. In Indonesian language, saya guru, dia anak perempuan saya. In English, there is a verb, but in Indonesia, there is no a verb. Maybe just this for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.